I attest that the inhabitants of the town of Newbury who are qualified to vote were properly notified and warned of the date, the time, and location of this meeting.
So I guess we've got a line of people waiting outside, but we're going to at least start. My wife is in here now, so we can definitely start now. Somebody to heckle me. So, but before I begin, I'd like to recognize Mike Doyle for his where is Mike?
Here I am, Dick.
Oh, Mike, geez. I'd like to recognize him for his contributions to the town. He was on the Finance Committee for 15 years, Select Board for 6 years on 2 different occasions, and he's chosen not to run again to take care of his health. Thank you, Mike. There are some basics that I'd like to cover, and first and foremost is I expect everyone to be respectful to one another. We're certainly not going to agree on everything, but that doesn't mean we can't respect each other's opinions. We all live in the same town. We all care about the town. So let's keep it a positive meeting. Town meeting is, of course, the purest form of democracy. And I intend to let all sides speak on an issue, to hear all sides of an issue. But I'd not like to hear each side of the issue maybe once, maybe twice. If your issue has been mentioned and brought up once or twice, that's probably enough. Can't hear me?
Microphone.
Is it on? There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. So, what I was saying was that I'm going to make certain that every point of view of every issue is heard. But let's try to make sure it's once or twice and not multiple times. If your opinion has been spoken for, then let's let that stand. Some of the articles require a simple majority. Others require a more percentage than 50%. We'll make that clear before the vote. And the great thing here is we're going to know what the vote is because we're going to have, we have our system here that with a voting keypad that's going to be explained to you. I'd like to introduce everyone that's up here. The chairman, the Board of Selectmen, the chair is Alicia. Vice Chair, J.R. Colby, Jeff Godfrey, Walker, and Michael Doyle. Geraldine Healy is not here today. She's not able to make it today. The chair of the Finance Committee is Erica Jacobson. The vice chair is Marshall Jesperson. There's Linda Allen, Joseph Ali. Gene Case is not here today either. We have Tom Howard and Frank Visconti. Town clerk is Leslie Haley, and the planning director is Martha Taylor. There are some non-residents here that we have to vote to allow them to speak. Lisa Mead, our town council. Tracy Blaze, our town administrator. Eileen DeVoe, the town accountant. John Lucy, chief of police. Ellen Cohen, PG production specialist. Matthew Cooper, IT director. Cindy Currier, CCA director. Brian Forget, superintendent of schools. Kay Wayne, business manager. Maureen Lynch, Whittier superintendent. And David Maxon from Isotope LLC. Yes, sorry. So we need to vote. We need to take a vote to allow these people to speak. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, we're going to use the keypad. So I guess we should start with that, huh? You want to do a demo and talk about that? Okay, thanks.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Jessica, and I work with Echo 360 Turning Technologies, which is your keypad.
You can hear you in the back.
Can you hear me a little bit better now? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to explain how to use the keypad. It's pretty simple. If you look at your keypad, you'll see that you have a series of 10 buttons. Primarily, we're going to be interested in the 1A or 2B button. When the question is... Is this a little bit better? Okay, I'm going to take this off here. Okay. So the keypad around your neck is going to be used to vote. Again, as I said, we're interested in primarily the 1A and the 2B buttons. What's going to happen is a question is going to come up on the screen. The question will be read, and the answer choices will be read. Then your moderator is going to say that you have 10 seconds to vote, and it's the final 10 seconds to count down. We're going to go ahead and practice this in just a moment. So here's an example of a question. The first question I'm going to ask is, tonight is a great night for a town meeting. Press 1 for yes or 2 for no. You can go ahead and start your voting, and I'm going to give you a 10-second timer, as you can see, that's going to click down. At the end of 10 seconds, the votes will be shown here. Okay, so it looks like 88 of you say that yes, it's a good night for a town meeting, and 50 of you might not prefer the weather. Okay, so pretty simple. We're going to try one more time before we get started. So my next question for you, did the Celtics win yesterday? Press 1 for yes or 2 for no. And we're going to start your 10-second countdown. Okay, it looks like 113 of you say that they did win, and 27 of you say that they did not. I honestly don't know the answer because I was at another town meeting, so I was hoping you did. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, raise your hand. I'll be happy to answer them. Okay. I don't see any questions, Mr. Moderator, so I'm going to go ahead and...
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we waive the reading of the warrant. Oh, I'm sorry. We did not vote on allowing those people to speak. So a 1 would be a yes, and a 2 would be a no. We have 10 seconds to vote on this. Okay, we're all set. Those folks are allowed to speak, 105 to 22. So we're going to waive the reading of the warrant and allow each article to be summarized instead. We have to take a vote on this also. All in favor? You going to put it up? This is our...
Yep, give me 1 second. I didn't have that one in the warrant.
Okay, I'm sorry, sure. Good work.
It's ready, and I'll start the timer.
Okay, 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. We have 10 seconds to vote. Thank you. 120 to 23. The warrants will be summarized by the board. So we're all set with Turning Technologies. Everybody understands it. Everybody please turn off your cell phones. Now we're going to hear from the board. I'm sorry, we're going to hear from Alicia first.
Are we going to do Article 1 first?
What's that?
Did we do Article 1?
What did we miss?
Respective voting
Pledge.
districts? Pledge.
Article 1,
Do the
yes.
Pledge. Pledge. Do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, and then the reports to the committees.
Yeah. Yep. So Article 1 is to meet in our respective voting districts on Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. The polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. to vote on the following offices. Precinct 1 is at Firefighters Memorial Hall. Precinct 2 is Newbury Town Library. Select Board, 3 years. Assessor, 3 years. Board of Health, 3 years. Constable, 4 years. Fish Commissioner, 3 years. Library Trustee, 3 years. Planning Board, 5 years. Triton School Committee, Newbury, 3 years. Rowley, 3 years. Salisbury, 3 years. And Trustees of the First Settlers Burial Ground. Do I have a motion? A second?
Second.
Okay, we can vote. 10 seconds. Yes, we're going to have the election on the 10th. No, we are not. 10 seconds. Okay, yes it is. We're going to receive the reports of the Select Board, School Committee, regular and special committees, and all other town officers, or take any other action in relation thereto. Alicia?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So, good evening, town meeting members. Tonight, as we go through the warrant, I want to make you aware of several additional capital purchases that were already made with grant monies. This year, the town has had the unprecedented opportunity to make capital expenditures through the ARPA grant program. ARPA stands for the American Rescue Plan Act, which is an act of Congress that made funds available to all municipalities across the country. Newbury was awarded $2.1 million, and the board has voted to use some of these ARPA monies to make several capital expenditures that would normally be listed in the warrant tonight. Specifically, a police department cruiser, a fire department command vehicle, and a Shellfish Constable Patrol vehicle. All three of these items have been on the Capital Planning Committee's replacement schedule and all have Capital Planning Committee approval. One of the Select Board's goals is to develop a budget within the limits of Proposition 2.5 and in compliance with the town's comprehensive financial policies passed in 2017. The budget presented to you tonight in Article 7 is a budget that does not rely on one-time funding sources or unsustainable practices, and that ensures current revenues are sufficient to support our operating expenses. Another goal of the Select Board is to complete long-term capital projects. With the completion of the police station, constructed on time and under budget during COVID times, thanks to the hard work of the Municipal Building Committee, our focus has turned to finding a functional and affordable town hall solution back at 25 High Road. Article 19 asks to put aside $2.5 million towards that solution. Should this article pass, Newbury will have set aside $4.2 million to fund our new town hall. It is the Select Board's goal to bring a project to you at next spring's annual town meeting. The town of Newbury is extremely well-managed, which is evidenced by our AAA bond rating, the highest rating assigned to municipalities. Under this administration, including the town administrator, the Finance Committee, and the Capital Planning Committee, through sound fiscal policies and sound capital planning, has brought us from the brink of receivership a short 10 years ago to this fiscal high point today. And now, with more on our finances, I will turn it over to Erica Jacobson, the Chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much, Alicia. Madam Chair, I stand before you tonight 2 years after we were all, actually it's been 3 years since we've been in this location, and I'd like to welcome everyone back. For how many of you have you attended town meeting before? Raise your hand. All right. For how many of you, is this your first time here? Thank you. Thank you very much for coming and participating in one of the oldest pieces of democracy. Our town relies on your wisdom and grace and expertise to make the decisions in front of our town. So, as we get back to town meetings, I'd like you to know a little bit about the Finance Committee and the role that we play. The Finance Committee is responsible for directly to town meeting as we oversee the transactions of the town and report to you, the constituents. We also oversee working with the budget. We talk to and discuss with the Select Board. We also work with the outside boards, such as the School Committee. And through the DCC, the District Communications Committee, work with our sister towns of Rowley and Salisbury for our Triton Regional School District budget. This involves many hours given by the people on these boards, as well as concerned citizens who come to these meetings. So as we go through tonight, I want to give a quick, I don't know if I have the presentation up. So if we can go to slide 2 on that. Thank you. What I want to do is give a quick refresher on warrant, articles, motions, and everyone's roles and responsibilities. There's many questions about this each year, and we're hoping that with one overview we can clear it up. So, by law in Massachusetts, each town has to have a town meeting. And here in Newbury, the date is selected by the Select Board. The business or agenda of town meeting is contained in a document, or here as known, the warrant. It is set, think of it this way, to warn the town's residents or voters of the items to be discussed that evening. This will include all articles, which the town will act on at that particular town meeting, as well as the date, time, and place of town meeting. The Select Board has the unique role of approving and issuing the warrant. The articles will be addressed in the order they were approved, and any action taken at town meeting is not valid unless the article was listed on that warrant. These have to be prepared in advance and are done with the forethought to the best known of our ability at the time. Once the warrant is closed and signed by the Select Board, no other business can be brought to town meeting. The language used in the warrant is legally drafted and reviewed by Town Council. The warrants are available on the main board at Town Hall, as well as locations and polling spots. Before annual town meeting, they're also available on the website. After the warrant is approved, the Finance Committee comes in and reviews each article. We ask questions. We talk about it with Tracy. We've sat through the Select Board's meeting as well. And then we make votes to recommend or not recommend the articles. Our votes and rationales are in a booklet we produce called the Finance Committee booklet. And our votes are recorded in a yes, no, and abstain in the booklet. Tonight, the Select Board will be making motions. The motions are what we will be voting on. For the financial articles, the motions will include the amount and the funding source. It will sound a little something like this. I move that the town will vote to transfer the sum of $200,000 from free cash to be added to the other post-employment benefits trust account. The amount is clearly stated. There is no mention of or any other sum. It is that amount, and the funding source will be defined. After the motion is made and seconded, the floor will be open for discussion. Our moderator is in charge. Follow his rules. If you wish to speak, please approach a microphone in a timely manner, state your name, address, and make your comments, questions. The comments may be addressed by the members of the Select Board, Finance Committee, and the other individuals that we have just approved to speak here as well. Who answers will depend on the role and the area of expertise. So, outlining the quick rules of how we work, how we get here, and how we work together, I'm going to give you a quick thing on our budget, and this is on slide 3. This is our total budget, is $2.4 million. $2,448,388. I know that number. I've heard that number. This is a balanced budget. And as we look through that, that means that our revenues have to meet our expenses. More yet, our expenses have to fit within our revenues. We can't overspend. Our budget has gone up about $3 million over the past 5 years shown here. When we look at where our budgets come from, this is on slide 4, 73% of our revenues this year are coming from property tax. As you can see, state aid has not increased much. That stays very level at about 4%. Local receipts, that's your excise tax, other things that are not personal property, or that are not property tax. And then available funds. Like I said, $22,448,388. Over the years, the slices of this pie do not change dramatically. It's 70, 75%, sometimes up as high as 80% of our revenues are coming from property tax. Available funds is the place that we see a little bit of a shift. These are money that might result from operations, and it's not always something that we use on a regular basis. But state aid is the lowest it has been in years. It's not, in 2003, we were getting much, much more. It's not expected to creep back up. And when we look at the flip side, where our money goes, this also is very steady. Education, this year is exactly 50% of our budget. And education is not just the Triton School District, it also includes Whittier and the Essex Agricultural Schools. Our municipal budget, that's our town services, our police, fire, and all of our things to run the town. That also includes the road paving, all of that, council on aging, library services. Benefits for the municipal employees is 9%, and debt service is 5% of our budget. Again, these slices of the pie don't change dramatically year over year. And this is a good thing. Working in a way that is steady, consistent, is respected. We have a AAA bond rating, which means we can borrow well. We are seen as being financially responsible. So into that way, in 2017, the Select Board adopted a set of financial policies. So we operate by those. On slide 6, you'll see 2 articles that are up about our operating budget. We are required by law to prepare balanced annual budgets. Article 7, which the Finance Committee supports, is the funding of the fiscal year 2023 operating budget. Article number 5 is a citizen's petition to limit the budget to a maximum of 2.0%. To do that, we would have to cut significantly the municipal services to reach that amount. This is not something that's fiscally required. It's not necessary. What we want to do is we conservatively project revenues from all sources. the property tax, state aid, local receipts, and available funds, and accurately, realistically budget for expenses to provide the essential services needed by our town. The other votes that we'll be taking tonight on slide 7 are going to do with our funds. We have 4 different types of funds. Tonight, there will be votes taken from free cash and stabilization. Free cash is basically, it is the funds derived from the collection of taxes and revenues in excess of its initial estimates. Having free cash means that we were conservative and we ended up saving money. If accounts have money left over at the end of the year, they go into free cash and get certified. It means that this has already been accounted for, and it is now best used for one-time funds, capital expenditures. To spend that money, the only people who can spend that money are the people in this room. It requires a vote here. No one can touch it during the year. It only gets voted here. Stabilization is also kind of our savings account. Tonight you're going to be asked to put some money into stabilization and then spend some money out of stabilization. And this requires a 2/3 vote, again, of town meeting. Tonight we will not be doing anything out of our land sale fund or our reserve fund. In terms of the capital expenditures tonight, we have a couple that I want to highlight here on slide 8. So, we recommend voting yes on Article 9, using free cash to help fund part of our OPEB liability. Article 19, which Chairwoman Greco spoke to, is to transfer funds from our free cash account into a capital account for the town hall project that will be being worked on and voted on at a later time. All it's doing is setting aside the money there. We do not support Article 6, the citizens' petition to use $1 million to fund the operating budget. This is completely against the financial measures adopted by this town. We must abide by that in order to keep a strong footing. And we we endeavor to maintain a minimum balance of at least $1 million in free cash after all town meeting appropriations. Amounts in excess of $1 million may be available for capital or other one-time expenses. So if we want to look at the funds that we would be left with, if all of the financial articles put forth by the town, we would still have over $2 million in free cash. We would have $268,460 in stabilization. And as I said before, land sale and reserve funds would not be touched. The relevant articles for free cash, there are only 2. And for stabilization, we're going to be making 1 funding of stabilization and 4 expenditures put forth before you. I encourage you to speak, share in the process, and as our moderator reminded us, to be courteous to one another and assume positive intent. Assume that the people who are here to give of themselves, whether they're serving on boards or whether they're here to vote, that they're here to do good and look out for each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robin, is Robin here? Robin, where are you? Do you want to come up? Sorry.
We do have slides.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Dick. Hi, everybody, I'm Robin Lawson, 9 Lenway Road, Byfield. And I'm Heidi Fram, 21 Forest Street, Byfield. And we are the co-chairs of Newbury Town Day. Newbury Town Day is, who's flicking the slides? Newbury Town Day is an all-volunteer, full day of activities for all ages, showcasing the treasures of our town. It includes art, music, history, dance, sports and games, and more, morning till evening, all over town. So some of the activities that have been planned are the traditional Boy Scout breakfast starting off at the Byfield Community Arts Center. We have a history talk on New England's first airfield at Plum Island. And you may have thought that that was actually at the Plum Island Airport, but it was not. It's down on the reservation land. There are going to be open art studios on the lower green showcasing many of the artists and sculptors and painters in our entire community. We have natural landmarks on display. There's an art exhibit that's being held at the library, and that consists of a group of painters who got together with a group of naturalists over the course of the year and painted some of the natural beauty that is in our town. And they will be having a display at the library and explaining how they got to where they are. And of course, we have many historic buildings in our town, and the Museum of Old Newbury and the Historical Society are going to be having those buildings open so that you can see them. You've driven by them 100 times, you've never gone in there, and now would be your opportunity. We're also having at the Old Settlers First Parish Burying Ground, I might have said those words in the wrong order, there will be tours of the cemetery and explanations of how it is, where it is, and why it is. There are lots of kids' activities happening at Spencer Pierce Little Farm. So we have involvement for children of all ages, young and old. And we have a talk on the Newbury trolleys and the historical mills that were in Byfield and some in Newbury as well. We have the cardboard boat regatta on the upper green. I believe, Marshall, that we are awarding a prize for the most spectacular sinking. So you get the idea. There will be hot dogs and hamburgers. There will be a square dance in the afternoon at Spencer Pierce Little, and then we'll cap the day at the Byfield Community Arts Center with a performance by our local band, Revel Up. I would like to ask everyone who is actively involved or has participated or who in the planning or who is leading an activity to please stand up for a very quick applause. That means you. That means you. That means you. That means you. Don't be shy. I see a lot of shy people. I see a lot of shy people. But anyway, thank you very much. And there are lots of people here who've contributed recipes to the cookbook, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, who's invited? Newbury residents who can learn all kinds of things about their town they didn't know before. We're also inviting really everybody. It's free for all. Who started this? Well, it began as an initiative of the Newbury Cultural Council last year. It was kicked off at last year's town meeting when Heidi and I were here begging for money, and now we're here telling you about what these funds are going to support. And we have attracted a volunteer steering committee and activity team captains who are, some of whom are here. We also were very fortunate to have some pro bono contributions from Tracy Smith, graphic designer, who designed these fantastic t-shirts, and you will be able to get one of these shirts at Byfield Day on June 18th. And Joe Martis, who has done our social media platform, and we certainly appreciate those because this is a community full of volunteers, and it's a great place to be. Robin and I and the rest of the steering committee sort of guide things along, but people have stepped up to be the team captains of all of these great things that are going to be happening. And in addition to the money which you all voted to generously provide us with last year at town meeting. We have also received grants from the Institution for Savings Bank in Newburyport, from the local cultural councils of Amesbury, Georgetown, Newbury, and Newburyport. And we appreciate that support greatly. We're doing everything we can to minimize our expenses, but we want to be able to provide you with a porta potty should you need one during the day.
And we want to provide you with the police detail. Thank you, Chief Lucy. One last thing, the community cooks. We're creating a cookbook, a Newbury Town Day cookbook called The Community Cooks, and we're going to have it published in time for holiday sales. If you would like to contribute a recipe and little story, we'd be very happy to have it. There's information on the website on how to log in and enter your recipe. So thank you very much. And I think that wraps it up. What you can do is come, don't clap yet, just come, participate, volunteer, and spread the word. And there are postcards and flyers out front. Thank you very much.
I think they've done a great job, and it's going to be a terrific day. I hope everybody can make it and enjoy it.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I move that the town vote to accept the reports of the town officers, boards, and committees as printed in the 2021 town report without ratification or authorization of any action.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion and debate? Hearing none? Let's vote. Yes, we agree. No, one is yes, and two is no. We're running out of time. Okay, thank you. 141 to 12, we accept those reports. Article 3, to see if the town will fix the salaries and compensation of certain elective officers of the town as follows. Town moderator, $500. Wow. Select board, $7,500. Board of Assessors, $3,500. Board of Assessors chair, $3,500. Town clerk, $65,394. Tree warden, $5,000. Fish commissioner, $1,300 each. Chair of the planning board, $1,500. Each member of the planning board is $1,000. Chair of the board of health, $1,500, and each member $1,000.
I move that the town vote to fix the salaries and compensation of the elective officers as listed in Article 3.
Have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Discussion and debate. Hearing none, let's vote. 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. (152 to 28). Thank you. Now we have citizens' petitions. Excuse me. This is Article 4, to see if the town will vote to transfer or appropriate the sum of $20,000 or any other sum from the free cash fund to fund the purchase and installation of a public safety gate at the Georgetown Larkin Road Bridge, or take any other action in relation thereto. Submitted by Justin Londrigan, 38 Larkin Road. The select board says that this is the will of the town. The finance committee voted against it 0 to 5.
Discussion?
Yes, please.
We need a motion.
We need a motion first. Somebody needs to make a motion for this. Okay, seconded, please.
Second.
Okay, now discussion or debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Can everyone hear me? No?
You have to get close.
Here, hold on. How about now? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Londrigan. I live at 38 Larkin Road with my wife, Catherine, and our 3 boys. I bring this petition to the will of the people to ask for your vote to promote safety, savings, and love. I'm here tonight on behalf of my children, my neighbors' children, and the many pets on Larkin Road. Dozens of my awesome neighbors are here tonight too, all around us. We aren't politicians or activists. We're here because we love our children, we love our neighborhood, and we love Newbury. We're regular people looking to lead decent lives, and we just want our neighborhood and our kids to be safe. Here is a brief history of Larkin Road, for those of you that don't read the paper. By 2015, the bridge failed, the culvert failed on Larkin Road in 2014. By 2015, the town of Newbury placed a dead-end sign at the entrance to Larkin Road. Larkin Road has been closed through traffic for 7 years. Half of Larkin Road's current residents bought their homes after the dead-end sign went up. A developer is currently building 10 homes off Larkin Road in Georgetown. Georgetown, with Newbury's select board support, told the developer he could only build his houses if he paid to replace the failed bridge. The bridge is entirely in Newbury. The town of Newbury submitted to Georgetown's bridge demands with no benefit to Newbury citizens and without apparent concern for the safety of the citizens in the neighborhood. Larkin Road was a well-known cut-through for Route 95 access for Georgetown residents and trucks headed to the Georgetown Industrial Park. Citizens of the street in both Newbury and Georgetown overwhelmingly opposed through traffic, including 335 citizens who signed a written petition in support of keeping the bridge closed. The Georgetown Select Board affirmed in writing to the town of Newbury Select Board on 9/27/2021 that it will support whatever decision Newbury reaches regarding the bridge. I want to now briefly address FinCom's written comments on this subject. As a bit of context, Chair Greco was kind enough to arrange a meeting in March 2022 between concerned citizens and town officials to discuss our gate proposal. I'm sorry that FinCom could not attend that meeting. As Chair Greco has confirmed, a public way in Massachusetts can absolutely be closed. Please see Massachusetts General Laws, Section 1, Part 1, Title 14, Chapter 82. Our vote today to pursue a safety gate will begin a process that will also involve Georgetown. I am asking for the people's support today to begin that process. I believe that public safety should never be a financial matter, and no one can put a price tag on safety. I welcome FinCom's involvement in this process going forward. Article 4 is about safety. Emergency vehicles have had zero bridge access on Larkin Road for 7 years. If reopening this bridge was public safety critical, why hasn't the town fixed it? Indeed, the past 7 years confirmed that Newbury does not need Larkin Bridge open at all. We totally support public safety, however. A safety gate allows instant access for emergency vehicles, but prevents unsafe through traffic. Safety gates are reliable, cause zero delay to emergency vehicles, and are used throughout the Commonwealth and the United States. Larkin Road is filled with small children who walk the narrow and winding road to their bus stop. The odds of a small child being hit by a speeding out-of-towner or delivery vehicle is an unnecessary risk to take, only to open a bridge that was abandoned on a road that was dead-ended 7 years ago. Public safety should be proactive, not reactive. Please help us keep our community safe. Article 4 is also about savings. The cost of our gate will likely be far less than the amount we have requested, which I would argue is very minimal. The developer himself has volunteered his machines and labor to install the gate. Limiting the bridge to emergency vehicles will drastically reduce ongoing bridge and road maintenance costs, keep our families safe, and save taxpayer money. In closing, opening this road to through traffic brings no benefit to Newbury, puts our community and children and pets at risk. Article 4 improves emergency vehicle access from where it stands today, keeps our community safe, and saves taxpayer money. I imagine each of you here tonight has things in your life you love, people and places you would do anything to protect. Please help us protect and preserve what we love. Please vote yes on Article 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. More discussion or debate? Please.
Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the roof's leaking. There's water all over here. It's a pretty steady leak, so I don't know if there's any money in the budget for that, but that's... All right, my name is Robert Ross. I'm at 48 Central Street in Byfield, and I'm here in support of the article to add a gate on Larkin Road. Justin did mention a number of things that I wanted to mention, so I think I'm going to be brief. But so on Monday, I've lived there on 48 Central Street for 5 years. On Monday, I noticed something that I'd never noticed before, okay? And what happened was a school bus, which routinely every day comes to pick up children at the end of Larkin Road and then drops them off in the afternoon, came to drop off the children. Now, Central Street is a cut-through street from I-95 to Route 1, and it's a very busy street. The only thing protecting the kids when the bus parks on the opposite side of the street to let them out is a little stop sign that pops out on the side of the school bus. Now bear with me, I'll tell you where I'm going with this. So I watched 15 kids come off that bus, race across Central Street, and race straight down Larkin. There's no sidewalks on Larkin Road, okay? So the parents are parked on either side of Larkin Road, or they've walked up to Larkin Road to pick up their children, all right? Now, if safety is the #1 concern related to Larkin Road, I think this raises some questions. I have never, in the 5 years that I've lived there, seen a crossing guard come out to help those children across Central Street. I've never seen a policeman come to help stop traffic on that street. Okay, I've just seen the kids left to whatever happens, happens. And so when I hear that closing Larkin Road or opening Larkin Road is a matter of public safety, I find it to be a specious argument. There's a couple other points I'd like to make. The speed limit on the other side of the bridge in Georgetown is 25 miles per hour. The speed limit on the Larkin side is 30. So what we're going to do is encourage people to speed up as they come across that culvert onto Larkin Road. Now, this has been brought up several times. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, more people have stood up to talk in front of the select board about the Larkin Road issue over the last year than any other issue. 335 people have signed a petition to try to stop Larkin Road from becoming a throughway, okay? These people are not being heard. The excuses that we're hearing are that Georgetown people need to be made safer by the opening up of that culvert. No one's talking about whether or not the people on this side of the culvert are going to be safer. It's our opinion, my opinion, and I think a number of my neighbors, that they will be less safe. I have not, in the time that I have pursued this issue, found one person or heard one person from my neighborhood stand up at a meeting, a select board meeting, and say they want that culvert opened. Not a single person. I've heard numerous people from the road come up and say that. So one of the excuses that we're hearing is the town will be in legal jeopardy of some type if we don't go through with opening the bridge. Let me just say this. There's no one on Larkin Road who's responsible for that legal risk. Not a single resident of that road has any responsibility for the legal risk associated with whether or not that road is opened. The people who have created that risk are now telling us that if we get what we want, we'll put the town at legal risk. And again, I think that's a specious statement. I don't think that's accurate, okay? Because we're not responsible for any of the legal issues related to that road. All we're responsible for is the safety of the people who live on that road. That's the only thing we're trying to take responsibility for. The gate is a compromise, okay? It's a way for the neighbors to say, look, we understand you want the gate open, you want that culvert fixed, the developer's gonna pay for it. We're trying to create a compromise where everybody gets what they want. Okay, and again, $20,000 was presented to the Finance Committee. They voted 5-0 to not spend that money with ARPA funds in hand for infrastructure. Okay? So $20,000 for a town like Newbury, I'm looking at the budget, I'm thinking, what percent is that of the town budget, even when we have federal funds to spend on it? So as a citizen, I look at this and I say, 5-0? Not a single member of the finance board said, well, $20,000 for the people on Larkin Road to feel safe is worth the expenditure, when it's federal money. So all I'm saying is that we don't quite understand what is happening with this. I think Justin's proposal was a very good one. He's trying to say, hey, look, here's a compromise for the town, okay? I don't think this is about public safety from the standpoint of those that don't want the gate or want the road open. I don't believe that. There's too many examples there. There's a dead-end street sign. There's nothing that says bridge out, bridge closed. Nothing on that street indicates that that closure is temporary. Nothing. Okay, so I'll wrap it up.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just.
Thank you. I think it's been well covered and covered very well. I think it's been well explained. I think everyone understands what the position is of the folks on Larkin Road. I think there may be a legal issue.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not finished. Give me two more seconds here, okay?
I think we've heard, I think everybody knows exactly what's going on. I hate to cut you off, but I think it's time.
No,
Thank
I don't
you.
think I'm going to let you cut me off.
Thank you.
I'm going to explain you why.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No, I'm not a professional politician.
Please sit down.
No, I'm not a professional politician. I'm just a citizen. I'm not polished. I'm not a public speaker.
It's time for you to please sit. Thank you.
I'm going to make a final statement.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a final statement. Okay. This is my statement, okay? You might not care about Larkin Road, that's fair enough, okay? But what this issue is more about is the town listening to people in a neighborhood who want something and feel that they have a right to it, okay?
That's it. Sit down, please.
This article is a way to say we support the neighborhood and the people in that neighborhood.
Would you please sit down? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I've been asked to this Lisa Mead Town Council, I've been asked just to make a statement. The appropriation is an appropriation, but it's up to the select board to spend that money. So the town meeting should know that the appropriation doesn't necessarily mean the money is going to be spent. The installation of an emergency gate is tantamount to discontinuing the road. In order to discontinue a road that shares a boundary with another community, not only must this town meeting vote to discontinue the road with proper notice, that's not on the warrant tonight, but the other town must also vote to discontinue the road. So I'm here just to tell you that that process must happen before a gate could ever be installed, and the select board need not spend the money even though you may appropriate the funds. Thank you.
One more follow-up, please, sir. I just want to support Ms. Mead's position on that and say that we are here tonight clearly aware that this would require support and discussion with the town of Georgetown. We maintain our request or support in the town of Newbury to begin a process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have a motion and a second. And we've had discussion and debate. I think everybody understands the issues. So one is a yes vote to fund the money, the $20,000, and a 2 is a no vote. 1 is yes, 2 is no. The article passes 118 to 58. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to limit the FY 2023 total operating budget to a maximum increase of 2% from the FY 2022 total operating budget, submitted by Jim Moran, 104 Elm Street. Do we have a motion? And a second. Discussion or debate? Where's Jim? Jim?
Dick, could I speak from your podium and face the voters, please?
Speak from here? Sure.
Thank you.
You want to be able to put that down? You don't have to hold it if you don't want to get close enough to it. You don't get close to it, they won't hear you.
I want to thank the town. Can everybody hear me? My name is Jim Moran. I'm at 104 Elm Street. I want to thank the town and the people for their demanding work and diligence over the past 10 years to the shaping and the making of a better Newbury. The town has benefited in this period of vibrant economic times, low inflation, low interest rates, and strong financial policies implemented by the town. In turn, the town is in extraordinarily strong financial positions. The town has prospered during the 10 years. Revenues keep pouring in, and the general fund balance, growing year over year, is overflowing. According to the current audit, the general fund balance has grown from 1.5 million to 8.3 million in the past 10 years. The fund balance has been increasing at an average rate of just under $700,000 per year, every year, for 10 years. The reason I petitioned this article is to identify an issue, make the voters aware of the details, and work towards bringing revenues and expenditures into balance. Economic times have changed quickly with much higher inflation and the interest rates climbing every quarter. It is important to set a course of conservative financial planning for fiscal year '23. The town has over-collected revenue and inflated the operating budget for years. The net result is a bigger and bigger pile of cash. This is both good news and bad news. The good news is the town is in the best financial position, maybe ever. The bad part is the town has overreached and over-collected the people's money. The question is what to do. One answer is to implement change. Increasing the budget by 2% rather than 4% is a good change. 2% increase in last year's budget will be adequate to operate the town. My statement on over-budgeting is bold, strong, but it's on the mark. The statement is factual and validated by the annual town audit reports for the past 10 years. The audit documents, it's called the Statement of Revenues and Expenditures, budget and actual. This statement for the general fund accounts for the excess of revenues over expenditures, which has averaged over $1 million annually for the past 10 years. I repeat, the excess of revenues over expenditures. In the past 3 years alone, the excess amounts totals to $4.5 million. In the past 3 years, the budget train has arrived at the bountiful station of Pig Heaven, also known as free cash. This means the town for the past 10 years have been collecting more revenues than needed and spent less than budgeted. The net result is a continuously increasing stream of free cash. Since 2015, the town proposed and the voters approved spending over $4 million in free cash. That's above, in addition to, your annual budget. Tonight, the town wants to spend another $4 million in free cash. Yes, Dick?
You're getting to the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dick's always kind and courteous. Thank you. Contrary to the Finance Committee's comments, the town budget for '23 is not balanced, expenditures are not realistically budgeted, and estimated revenues exceed the need. My statements are based on the past 10 years of the audit, and the audit stands on its own and confirms that the town is over-budgeted and over-collected revenues. The conservative approach with inflation raging and interest rates increasing is to batten down the hatches and budget less. Let's hold tight this year and wait until we know more next year. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jim. Finance Committee?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Can everyone in the back hear? Okay, good. Okay, we've heard from Jim Moran, and he's made several statements that we wish to take issue with. First of all, we don't have inflated budgets. We have some capital expenditures that we have been saving for and working on getting for this town. Also, the town is encouraged by the state to have prudent reserves for what we are going to have in our budgets going forward. So no, we have not over-collected. We have collected about what is right. If you look at the finances of the town over the past several years, and we can go back at least 40 years, we really have not kept up with everything that we should be keeping up with. And it doesn't show anywhere more than in the school system, which in real terms has been taking hit after hit after hit. We have a lot to do in the town. We work really hard on budgeting responsibly for a budget that is going to do the best job we can do for the town of Newbury. There is no excess cash. And what we are doing is trying to provide the best services for the town. We have the lowest tax rate, or about the lowest tax rate in our area, and we're trying to be as responsible with this money as absolutely possible and still get done what the town needs to get done. And we have a lot of projects ahead of us. Make no mistake about that. And so this is a really responsible budget. I know Jim would like to pare that down and maybe have a little more for each of you, but that is, in fact, where we stand. And so I urge you to vote no on this article. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? So is this new information?
Yes.
Okay.
My name is John Ashton. I'm at 2 Lunch Street in Byfield, Mass. And I'm a little confused with one of the items on from the Finance Committee, and that is to appropriate $2.5 million for the Town Hall Fund.
That's a different issue. We'll come to that.
But isn't that part of what we're talking about?
No.
No, sir.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, well, my point I'm trying to make is, if the 2.5 million that's coming up later wasn't there, then maybe we'd be able to better take off the money that Jim's talking about. 7 years ago.
Two separate issues here, two separate issues. One is about whether the budget is appropriate, and the other is
Well, if we don't get
what
it-
we're going to do for town hall. But we'll come to that.
Yeah, but if we don't
Please give
get-
me a chance to get, we're going to get to that.
If we don't get at it now, then we'll be passing what the budget is now, right?
No, this is not.
No, the budget itself is Article 7, and the article about moving free cash is Article 19.
Okay, I'll be back up.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. Bud Kelly, 24 School Street in Byfield. I am also the chair of your Board of Assessors, but I do not stand here in that role right now. I stand here as simply a resident of our beautiful community. I would like to share with you a comment that Marshall had made a comment earlier about the condition of our schools. I live at the exit of Triton. My wife and I graduated from Triton. I graduated from here. Our sons graduated from Triton. We walk Triton pretty much every night. And I can tell you that we walk around with a little less pride than when we were going back there in '85. Things look tired. My profession is a property manager. There is a little formula that's used that says 0.75% of the property value should be put aside to maintain properties, to maintain roof systems, to maintain infrastructure. So I think that this is just being fiscally responsible to say, put the money in the fund, let it be there so that when we have a leaky roof, and it costs $300,000 or $400,000 to do it, we have money to do it with. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bud. Okay, Jim, I think we can vote now. I think we've heard enough on the
Dick,
subject.
with
Thank
what
you. No, I
Bud-
think we can
with
vote
what
now.
Bud said
I think
contradicts-
we can vote now, Jim.
Triton
Okay? I've
is-
given you every chance to speak.
This has
It's time
nothing to do with my
vote.
prior comments,
It's
Dick.
time to vote.
Dick.
Thank you.
You
Okay.
allow, you want equal discussion here. The school is proposing,
Sit down, please.
the school is
Jim.
budgeting $60
Jim,
million.
sit down.
And Bud wouldn't bring that up.
Okay. We can vote. Yes is to restrict the budget to 2%. No is to go with the budget that's been recommended by the Finance Committee. 1 is yes, 2 is no. $112 no, 42 yes. Thank you. To see if the town, this is Article 6, to see if the town will transfer the sum of $1 million from free cash to the operating budget. This is submitted by Jim. Select Board, 2 yes, 3 no. Finance Committee, 5 no. I think everyone understands what the position here is and why Jim wants to do this. Is that clear to everybody? Okay, I don't think we need to hear any more on it. Could I have a motion, please, to accept it? And a second? Okay, we can vote. If you're in favor of transferring $1 million from free cash, that's number 1 is a yes, and number 2 is a no. $115 no, 36 yes. Thank you. Appropriations. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide to meet the salaries and wages of town officers and employees, expense and outlays of the town departments, and other sundry miscellaneous but regular expenses necessary to the operation of the town for fiscal 2023. Do I
Mr.
have
Moderator,
a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $22,005,683 and to transfer $442,705 from the Special Assessment Fund to fund the operation of the town in the fiscal year 2023 as set forth in Article 7. Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion or debate? Hearing none. 1 is to accept. 2 is to reject the appropriation. Let's vote. $117 yes, 33 no. Thank you. Article 8, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 or any other sum to be added to the stabilization fund or take any other action in relation thereto. Mike?
I motion the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 to be added to the stabilization fund.
Second.
Discussion or debate? Hearing none. 1 is a yes vote to transfer the funds, 2 is a no, and the clock is on. 117 yes, 32 no. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $200,000 or any other sum, to fund other post-employment benefits or take any other action in relation thereto.
I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $200,000 from free cash to be added to the other post-employment benefits trust account.
Discussion or debate? We have a second? Second. Hearing none? 1 is a yes to transfer the funds, 2 is a no. $108 to transfer, 38 no. To see if the town will vote to transfer or appropriate the sum of $95,050 or any other sum from the Receipts Reserved Cable Television PEG Access Special Reserve Fund for the support of PEG access, service, and programming, or take any other action in relation thereto.
I move that the town vote appropriate the sum of $95,050 from the Receipts Reserved Cable Television PEG Access Special Revenue Fund to support PEG access service and programming.
Second.
Have a second? Discussion or debate? Hearing none. Yes is to appropriate the sum. No is to just decline to appropriate it. Clock is on. $125 yes, 23 no. Thank you. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to authorize the total expenditure of the following revolving funds pursuant to General Law C-44, Section 53E, half for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, to be expended in accordance with the bylaws thereto approved. JR?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to authorize the total expenditures for the following revolving funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, to be expended in accordance with Chapter 35 of the Code of the Town of Newbury. Recreation Revolving Fund, $50,000. Municipal Waterway Improvement and Maintenance Fund, $55,000.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion or debate? All in favor of authorizing the revolving funds is a yes, is 1. Opposed is a 2, is no. $132 yes, 13 no. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the following sums or any other sums to operate the ambulance enterprise.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the following sums of money to operate the ambulance enterprise fund. Salaries and wages, $1,381. Expenses, $92,360. Capital outlay, $12,000. Debt service, 0. Insurance, $5,000. Medicare, $2,195. Indirect costs, $60,382. Extraordinary and unforeseen, $12,000. Prior deficit, 0. Total would be $288,318. And further, that the $218,318 be raised as followed from departmental receipts of $218,318. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Have a second? Discussion or debate? Hearing none. Yes is to appropriate the funds for the ambulance enterprise. 2 is to decline the funds. Let's vote. $132 yes, 12 no. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $40,000 or any other sum to purchase a cardiac monitor or take any other action in relation thereto. Mike?
Mr. Moderator, I move the town to vote to appropriate the sum of $40,000 for the ambulance enterprise free cash to purchase a cardiac monitor.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion or debate? All in favor of transferring the $40,000 to purchase a cardiac monitor? 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. (132 yes, 13 no). Article 14, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $552 to pay the following outstanding bill from fiscal year 2021.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town transfer from free cash the sum of $552 to pay the following outstanding bill from fiscal year 2021. Security team, $552.
Second? Discussion or debate?
Mr. Moderator, this is for the field house alarm system and associated things.
I'm sorry?
This is for the Manta field house alarm system and associated expenses, if anyone's wondering.
All right. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none. 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. I'm sorry? We need a 4/5 vote here. 4/5. 4/5.
We got it.
We got it. 127 to 16. Okay, Article 15, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $45,000 or any other sum to construct a police department, archive, squad room, or take any other action in relation thereto. Alicia?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town transfer the sum of $20,000 from the stabilization fund to construct a police department archive squad room.
Second.
Discussion or debate?
I can explain, yes. So when this had gone to print, the warrant had gone to print, the thought was that we would need $45,000, but since newer information has come into the offices, and the amount of the sum is only $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to ask the chief of police if he would like to come and explain to town meeting.
Good evening, folks. First of all, I want to thank everybody again publicly for the new police station. I know that sounds like a strange thank you with this article, and I will explain that, but thank you. It's beautiful, and it's working exactly as designed. It's lean and mean, and it's doing its job. And we're all very, very proud to be serving you folks with your new police station. The way this came to light is way, way back early when we were making the designs. We were looking for, again, that lean and mean design that would fit the budget. And one of the needs that we thought we could put off and recircle back to see how to facilitate was a squad room, which doesn't exist in the station right now. What a squad room is, it's a room for, it can be all kinds of purposes. Writing reports, following up on cases, in between shift layovers. There's a lot of reasons why you have a squad room that's dedicated to officers that they can go and do their job or again, do layovers in a place that's quiet and functional. So that was the discussion early on with the design, but we decided, you know, this is something with the third floor that we can do much more economically and maybe get creative and see if we can make it happen down the line. It would have been so much more expensive to have it part of the design. And the other thing that's a necessity that was, again, something we wanted to circle back on was a records room. We don't have any place for archived records. Knowing in the design we would come back and utilize the space on the third floor to see if we could do it, again, economically and efficiently better, you know, than having it with the original designs. and we think we've accomplished that. What the records room is for is all the archives. We have to hold on to certain records forever, some records until the district attorney's office says we can release them. There's a lot of records up on the 3rd floor. And part of accreditation, which we all hope to achieve for our police department, is the ability to secure and document the comings and goings of those records. So that, you got to maintain the integrity, the continuity of security of those records. So this article would facilitate building that room, setting up the way it needs to be with a security access, and we can facilitate the accreditation needs of having a records room. That is the thought process behind it. I can give you, it's nothing really extravagant. I can give you some dimensions, what we're looking at here. The records room, the entire storage space is 240 square feet, and the entire squad room space is 215 square feet. Now, originally, way back when we were trying to formulate this, the number was $45,000 for everything, for all the construction, the electrical, the accommodation for the fire protections and that sort of a thing that would need to be done. Through a very, very generous donation from R.D. Connors Corporation, about $20,000 that was taken off. That was donated work. And so I would like to acknowledge and thank Mr. Connors and his corporation for that. So if we could have a quick round of applause, please. And with that, is there any questions I might be able to answer for you folks?
Thank you, Chief. Okay. Thank you. Whoop, I think this is yours. Yeah, actually, there are a lot of names in here, though. I don't know. Chief? I wasn't aware he had done that.
You can cross your name off.
Thank you, thank you.
Since this whole program, I think these names are useless.
All right, so we want to see if the town will accept the fee of $20,000 to get a $45,000 addition to the police station. 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. He is. Okay. $107 yes, 40 no. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $22,000 or any other sum to purchase solar-powered speed crosswalk signs or take any other action in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town transfer the sum of $22,000 from the stabilization fund to purchase solar-powered speed crosswalk signs.
Second.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion or debate? I'm going to ask the chief to speak to this one too.
Okay, I'm back. I'll bring this with me next time. So basically what we're looking at is, we'll talk about radar boards first. There's a couple of areas in town that have been problematic and a lot of citizen concerns regarding vehicles going too fast. 2 of those areas that rise to the top at downtown Byfield coming into there. It's a 25-mile-an-hour zone. We see a lot of activity out there that we need to address. Also, the Elm Street, Georgetown line back and forth through there is a problematic area. Out of the way place, but we've run a lot of radar, done a lot of analysis, and we've seen that we need to address that. So what I'm proposing is some traffic calming activity there with these solar-powered radar boards. And what's nice about them is we can identify the problem areas, we can collect data which can more effectively steer our enforcement efforts. We can look at the data and say, okay, look, at this particular time frame and at this particular days is when we have the most activity and most problem. Now we can adjust our patrolling and our traffic calming efforts in a more effective way. So it's helpful that way, and these signboards, they are effective. They work for me. I use them. I mean, you look down, you see that thing beeping at you, and you'll say, okay, I am going a little bit too fast, and it helps. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. It's a looking for some compliance with a little bit of a message, and that's what would be the most helpful. The other thing, once these have their desired effect in particular areas and the message is sent, they're portable. We can take them off a pole and we can find another area that we want to try to get the same message out, and we can do that. They're solar powered, so there's no hard wiring, so that makes them easier to move around. So that's the thought process of these radar boards. And again, I probably should back up a little bit. The radar boards, what they are, I'm sure you've all seen them. They're the LED lights that tell you how fast you're going and tells you what the speed limit is supposed to be. So that's what we're trying to achieve here. Does anybody have any questions on that first part with the radar boards?
Thank you, Chief.
Now there's crosswalks?
Oh, the crosswalks.
I'll move on to the second.
Sure.
As far as the crosswalks are concerned, what we're looking at is special attention down in Plum Island Center. We're looking for flashing, solar-powered, again, crosswalk signs. What they are is they sense activity, people crossing there, and they flash with the arrow saying somebody's trying to cross. The white painted crosswalks that we do every year and try to get them more vibrant, try to get them to be seen, they become kind of white noise. You don't see them after a while, no matter how bright they are. This, in conjunction with those painted crosswalks, we really hope will calm and make it safer in the area of Plum Island Center, especially in the summer months. It really gets busy out there, and there's a lot of pedestrians, and we want to try to keep them safe. So we're looking at utilizing these devices at Plum Island Boulevard, right down by Southern in the northern intersection, and on Northern Boulevard, in that same intersection. The third pair that we're proposing would be at Newbury Elementary School crossing, right out front here. Let's get some people starting to pay attention to what's happening out in front of the school. So that's the third pair that we proposed.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion or debate on Article 16? Okay, a yes vote is number one, and that'll transfer the $22,000 to do the crosswalk, speed signs, and so forth. So one is a yes, two is a no. $125 yes, 125 yes, 22 no. Thank you. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $100,000 or any other sum to make repairs like the roof to the Newbury Elementary School roof or act in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I would like to move that the town transfer the sum of $100,000 from the stabilization fund to make repairs to the Newbury Elementary School roof.
Second.
Any discussion or debate? You in favor? Okay, we're going to vote. A one is a yes to transfer the $100,000. A two is a no. Thank you. $136 yes, 9 no. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $241,000 or any other sum to purchase a dump truck or act in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I would like to move that the town transfer the sum of $241,000 from the stabilization fund to purchase a dump truck.
Second? Discussion or debate?
Mr. Moderator, I would like to inform everyone at town meeting that that includes a dump body, a front plow, a wing plow, and a sander, and it's replacing a Sterling.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no discussion or debate, then we'll vote here for $241,000 for the dump truck. One is a yes, two is a no. $110 yes, 30 no. To see if the town will vote to Article 19, I'm sorry, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $2.5 million or any other sum to the town hall project account or act in relation thereto.
I move that the town transfer the sum of $2.5 million from free cash to the town hall project account.
You have a second? Discussion or debate?
Thank you, Dick. Jack Rybicki, Larkin Road, Byfield. This capital move from free cash was discussed last year and voted down for the sum of $1.5 million because there was no plan in place then for the funds. Now you're asking for $2.5 million to be moved over into a fund with $1.6 million in it from a fund that is based for capital purchases only. Moving the monies over doesn't change the ability to draw on free cash for the capital expenditure. Only moving the money in, the 2.5 additionally in, encumbers that money to a $4.1 million town hall renovation that there is no plan for yet and isn't expected for a year. There is $1.6 million in the town hall renovation account, which would allow leadership to go forward in any manner so that they could present to us next year a plan for the monies which we could then vote for out of the free cash fund. Leaving the money in free cash fund actually gives us taxpayers more options for other capital expenditures should we see fit to spend in that direction, whatever that may be. Marshall, you mentioned prudent reserves. Prudent reserves is $1.6 million in the town hall renovation fund, and prudent reserves is keeping the $4.9 million in free cash where it is until there's a plan so that citizens can vote on and legitimately draw it out for. We don't need to encumber the monies more for a plan non-existent. $1.6 million does the trick. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Janine Noyce Thompson, 4 Noyce Lane, Newbury, Mass. I am one of the first settlers of the town, my family is, and I've worked for the town for over 8 years in the past. I worked in the old town hall. My father owned the gas station in the center of town. All of our town government stuff is happening in the center of Newbury, the old town. That's where it should be, and we need to get going on this renovation. I supported the last amount, I support this amount, and I think that we need to get our town offices back where they should be and not spending well over $200,000 a year paying rent and paying for office space and paying for storage in Byfield. I think it's time we just move forward and get this done.
Thank you. I think we just want to be clear that we are not voting on this money to build the town hall. There will be a chance to hear the plan and then to vote yes or no on whatever that plan is. The idea here is to make sure that the funds are there when it is time to do it.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes. Yes.
Beckett.
Oh,
okay. From the Finance Committee. We proposed this last year. We still propose that it is a responsible thing to earmark this for the town hall. We know that there's a great deal of sentiment to return the town hall to the center of Newbury, and this is part of the planning for funding that in the future. As I mentioned before, we have many capital requirements coming down the line. This certainly is one of them. I think it's prudent to approve this transfer of funds into that account. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion or debate?
Just have a quick question. I've heard the phrase "or any other sum" several times. Could someone on the Finance Committee explain what that means?
Here, the motion read is because in the legal language in the warrant, it has to say that or any other sum, it is amount or any other sum. The motion read by Chair Greco was for the sum of $2,500,000. That is the motion on the floor. So it's not any other sum. the motion is 2.5 million.
Correct. Okay, I think we can vote. A 1 is yes to transfer the funds, a 2 is no not to transfer the funds. $72 yes, 69 no. It passes.
No, it doesn't.
Wow. Article 20, to see if the town of Newbury will vote to approve the town regional school district committee's vote on March 9, 2022 to establish a stabilization fund pursuant to section 18G and a half of chapter 71 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Said stabilization fund to be invested and to retain its own interest earnings as provided by law, and further set up an operational line item to be created to transfer available monies into said stabilization fund or take any other action relative thereto.
I move that the town vote to approve the Triton Regional School District Committee's vote on March 9th, 2022 to establish a stabilization fund pursuant to section 16G and a half of chapter 71 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Said stabilization fund to be invested and to retain its own interest earnings as provided by law, and further set up an operational line item to be created to transfer available monies into said stabilization fund.
Second.
Discussion or debate? Hearing none. 1 is yes to set up the stabilization fund, 2 is no.
Perfect.
89 yes, 21 no. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to amend the code of the town of Newbury, Chapter 97, zoning Article 4, regulations of overlay districts by deleting Section 97-4C, wireless communication services overlay district, and replacing it with a new Article 97AC, wireless communications facilities, as follows. We have, do I have a motion?
Mr. Moderator?
Sorry, yep.
I move the motion that the town vote to amend the code of the town of Newbury, Chapter 97, zoning Article 4, regulations of the overlay districts by deleting Section 97-4C, wireless communication services overlay district, and replacing it with a new Section 97-47C, wireless communications facility as printed in the Finance Committee Appropriations booklet. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
This requires a 2/3 vote also. Do I have a second?
Second.
We get an explanation? Please.
Thank you, sir. My name, can you hear me okay? Yeah, my name's Larry Murphy, 30 School Street. I'm the vice chair of the planning board. Because this is a zoning article, the planning board is required to hold a public hearing and make a report to town meeting, which is what I'm doing now. As many of you know from personal experience, there are several areas in town that have a problem with adequate cell service. Our current bylaw, which was adopted in 2001, doesn't really give us the tools to address these issues. It's far out of date, does not comply with current federal law, doesn't address increased data capacity or regulate current technologies. So it's the intent to improve this bylaw so that we can address these coverage issues throughout town. With the aid of our town planner, town council, and our consultant, David Maxim of Isotope LLC, the board developed this proposed bylaw, again with the intent of improving the cell service throughout the town. We did hold public hearings on 2 consecutive regular planning board meeting dates on March 2nd and March 16th, and the board unanimously recommended to the select board that the town bylaw amendment be placed on the annual town meeting warrant to be adopted. And so it is the recommendation, the unanimous recommendation of the planning board that the article be approved. I know it's a very comprehensive document. We're available to answer any questions. I'm not going to try to, at this point, summarize the entire thing. One point I will make, though, is that the locations where, right now under the current bylaw, cell towers are only allowed in the business and light industry district, which is, runs along Route 1 from Boston Road up to the Newbury Port line. That does not change. The cell towers will not be, are only permitted in that district. And one change is that only monopole forms of towers are allowed. There are other types of new technology that might help us in covering some of these gaps of coverage. But for now, I think I'll just I'll end the presentation and offer to answer any questions that any of you might have. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Mangin on 14th Street, and I caught your reference to where towers will be allowed in the future and where they're allowed now. I know in one of the documents that came before the planning board in the last year or so, there was reference made to the Plum Island Business District. That was a reference which at the time was said to be incorrect. But I asked the question about whether there's any move towards that, because I also know that there is a new master plan. Admittedly, that's a guidance document, but there is a master plan somewhere under works. And I would be loath to see a Plum Island Business District be formed where you could have a cell tower. So could you comment on that, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you that we won't have to look for different locations for, new locations for cell towers at some point, but I think that's a discussion for another day. One of the new technologies is a small wireless facility. We've had some discussion about that with our consultant, and that might help on Plum Island. What a small wireless facility is, it's basically a small antenna. I think they're limited in size to 3 by 3 by 3, if I'm not mistaken. And you would expect to see those on a telephone pole or possibly a building. That might be one answer for the problem with service on Plum Island.
Yeah, and I appreciate the cell phone gaps on Plum Island, but you know, the word tower makes me stand up and ask the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I should point out also that any wireless facility, whether it be the poles that we're talking about in the BLI district or the small wireless facilities, would all be subject to a special permit and site plan review by the planning board.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great presentation.
Any more discussion or debate on this? Okay, let's vote. Yes is a vote to amend the code. 2 is a vote no. $86 to 16. I think that's it. We got one more. Article 22. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. To see if the town will vote to amend the code of the town of Newbury, Chapter 88, Streets, Sidewalks, and Commons, by adopting a new Section 8815, Small Wireless Facilities and Rights-of-Way, as follows. A small wireless facility in rights-of-way, no person shall install or maintain a small wireless facility in any public or private right-of-way unless first approved by the Select Board. B, Policies and procedures. The Select Board shall adopt and from time to time amend policies, rules, and regulations relative to the issuance of special permits under the Section 8815. A copy of the policies, rules, and regulations shall be on file with the town clerk. Such rules shall prescribe the form, content, style, and number for application forms, the fees collectible with the applications, the process by which the application will be reviewed, the design and location criteria for approval, the time within which the Board of Selectmen will issue a decision, and requirements for recertification.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the code of the town of Newbury, Chapter 88, Streets, Sidewalks, and Commons, by adopting a new section 88-15, Small Wireless Facilities, in the right-of-way, as written in the Finance Committee Appropriations booklet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or debate?
Thank you.
Hearing none. Let's vote. 1 is a yes to amend the code, 2 is a no. "86 yes, 18 no." Thank you all. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Okay, I think a voice vote was fine on that one. Thank you all very much.
Okay, the motion to